So this is one of our newest presentations. I'm with the Department of Financial Institutions. My name's Kelly. We drove up here from Frankfurt today. This is my friend Lauren, operating the camera. I actually used to be a newspaper reporter, and she used to be a television reporter. So you have an actual anchor in your room right now. And so we have left the news world, and we've gone into state government. So we actually work in Frankfurt. And we drove up here today to see all of you fine people. Thank you very much for having us. And we are here to share with you some information on cybercrime. Now, my office is the Department of Financial Institutions. I'm sure you all have never heard of it before. Has anybody ever heard of the Department of Financial Institutions?
Nope.
Nope. I know you have. Can anybody guess what we do? What do you think by the name? Yeah.
Deal with money.
Yes, we do. We do deal with money. Do you think we have money?
No.
No, not really. People think we have money, but we don't. We actually go into all the places that do have money. So our job is to send people into banks, credit unions, lenders, and investment professionals. So we actually send our staff into their offices to make sure that they are handling your money correctly. Does anyone in here have a savings account? Awesome. Does anyone have a checking account yet? Does anybody work? Do you?
Yep.
You're like you wear a business suit and a tie. You go? No?
I just buy and sell shoes.
Oh, that's cool. Sweet. All right, he's got a little side job going on. All right, so that's great that you all have accounts. So whoever holds your account, we probably send people into their offices to make sure that they're keeping your money safe, because the last thing you'd want to do is go in and find out your money's gone. Actually, banks and credit unions have insurance. You know how your parents have insurance on their house and their car? And that's because if something happens to their house or their car, they can get it replaced, right? Well, a bank or a credit union has to have insurance too. And their insurance is in case, like I always get asked, what happens if a bank robber comes? Well, if somebody does come steal the money, that insurance makes sure it gets replaced. So that keeps your money safe. And we're there to make sure that they have the insurance, that they're doing what they're supposed to do, that their bosses know what they're doing and have the right training. Some people have to have a license, so we do all of that. So my job, I get the fun job. I'm not a numbers person, I'm a word person. So I get to come talk to all of you guys and adults too, because they need to learn also. And we talk to y'all about staying safe. So if my clicker will work, we'll get started. Haha. All right, so this presentation came out of a task force. We actually made a task force several years ago when some of the big viruses and the big hackers, yeah.
What's a task force?
A task force is a fancy word for a committee. So we have a committee that specializes in financial cybercrime. And so the goal of the committee is to make sure that all the people who handle your money are on top of this stuff, because we want to keep your money safe. We don't want banks or credit unions to get hit by hackers, right? We're going to keep them safe. So we issue advisories, alerts, bulletins. We kind of keep them ahead of the game, make sure that they install all the things they need to install to keep them safe. And so from that, we thought, well, why would we only share this with the industry? We should share this with people too, because everybody needs this. Everybody uses this technology and needs to stay safe. So first, we're going to talk about networks and stuff. So how many of you have Wi-Fi at home? Oh, almost everybody. Do you have it password protected?
Yep.
Yeah? Sweet. What does that do? Why do you want it password protected? Do what? Oh, all right. So part of it is so that no one can bum off your Wi-Fi. That's true. You know, your neighbor could be using it for free, and why should they get it free? They should have to pay too. But it's not just that. What if somebody was snooping? Could they get on your Wi-Fi if you didn't have a password? Yep. What if you are out and about? What if you are at McDonald's? Do they have Wi-Fi?
Yeah.
Yep. Do you think it's good to use it?
Yes.
No,
Maybe, maybe not.
because there could be like people inside the store, like a laptop, have a little Wi-Fi box.
He's right. There could be people snooping around in the store. They could be on if it's good Wi-Fi that's actually provided by, and I said McDonald's, it could be anywhere. I'm not getting McDonald's in trouble. But wherever you are, say it's Starbucks, McDonald's, Walmart, whatever. So let's say you are using their Wi-Fi and it's the real network, well, somebody might be trying to get in their network and see who's on it and get your information. Sometimes people are even worse than that, and they set up a fake network, and they'll call it something that sounds right. Like if you're at Starbucks, they might call it Coffee Link. So you think, oh, Starbucks might use that, and so you click on, and here it's not even Starbucks, it's this person, and they're collecting everything you do while you're on there. So when you use somebody else's Wi-Fi, be careful. So that's that. One other thing with your home stuff, you want to always install the updates. So do y'all get tired of the updates all the time? Do you get them on your phones? Do you install them? Yep, let them run. Even though it takes forever and it's keeping you from doing whatever it is you want to do right now, it's important to install those updates because those are the patches and things that protect against the new things that are coming out. So all of your software and stuff, they're always on the lookout for whatever's new and somebody trying to break in, and they'll put these patches on that keeps these people out. So always want to do your updates. And you want to update everything, not just your system software, but like on these computers, you want to make sure the school wants to make sure the browser's updated because it could just be the browser you're surfing with. What browser do y'all use? Heard a lot of Chrome? There's Internet Explorer, Firefox. Okay, so there's lots of them out there. Whichever one you use, make sure it's updated too. And with your password protection, you don't want to do the auto password, the autofill. Remember, that's all not good, right? Because you want to have to put that password in yourself. How many of you are on social media? Got any Facebook users in here? Got any Instagram users?
Me.
Got any Twitter users?
Me.
Got any Snapchat users? What have I forgotten? What else is there? Those are the big ones.
Monkey.
Monkey?
Kick.
Kick? Okay.
Text now.
All right. All right.
iMessage.
iMessage. All right. Instant message, any of that? Okay, so you all are online and connected, and that's all good. But be careful what you post. Do you all have security settings? Do you know what your privacy settings are? Are they as private as you think they are? No. Probably not. Have you ever tested it? Have you ever used somebody else's computer to try to look yourself up?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, what'd you find out? Anything good? That's good. That's good. So just be careful what you're posting online because you never know who's watching. You never know what they might want to learn and how they might want to use it. So the less you can tell that's of real substance, the better. Photos can show more than just your face. They can show where you are, and that could tell somebody you're not at home or not where you're supposed to be. And then what about someday when you want to get a job? What do you think your future employer is going to do?
Look you up.
Google. They're going to Google you, and what are they going to find?
Criminal records.
Hopefully not criminal records, but if you have them, they will find those. So just, you might not want to have too many party pictures on your Facebook page or Instagram, whatever. Just keep that in mind. Did you have a question back there?
What if you have your location turned off?
If you have your location turned off, that's good. I am a big advocate of turning the location off, me personally. For one, because on your smartphone, if you have the location on all the time, it's a big drain on your battery, first of all. And so I get tired of charging, right? But second of all, nobody needs to know where I am at any given moment. So I like to keep it turned off because it's more private. So you can have it on if you want to, but it's more private if you turn it off. Yes.
I'm gonna give a scenario. So say you went to like a concert and your parents would know where you are. And you send them your location.
What if you got kidnapped?
I am not going to tell you how to falsify a location so that you don't get in trouble. Sorry. I'm sure somebody will figure that out someday. I will not be part of that. Yes. Mm-hmm. Y'all shouldn't tell on yourselves.
What if you, so say you want to go to a friend's house and you don't know where you are, like on Apple,
Uh-huh.
on iPhones, you can send them your location.
Oh, like directions.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, that could be helpful. So there are times when you might want to turn it on because you trust the person you're telling, right? That's cool. Did you have a question back there? You?
Never mind.
Okay, think of it later. Let me know. Okay, so with your emails and attachments, if you don't know the sender, what do?
Don't give it
You
to them.
block them.
Delete it, block them. You don't need it. If you don't know them, you don't need it. What if you do know them and it looks weird?
Don't do it.
Don't
Ask her.
ask them. Exactly. Check if it's real. If it's real obvious, it's not real. Like if it's not the way they talk, or if there's nothing but a link. Does anybody ever send you nothing but a link?
Yeah.
Really? You trust it? Nah, I don't. Usually they send you a message too, right? So if it looks weird and it's not normal, get rid of it or at least ask them about it before you do anything with it. And if it's from a friend, you still be cautious because what if your friend got hacked? What if somebody else is using your friend's email?
You're screwed.
Well, hopefully not. If you check it out, you might help your friend out too because they might not know yet. So it's good to tell them. Instagram got hacked?
Yeah, I lost 1,800 followers.
I know about people.
Oh, he had to start over.
I started doing now, I'm like 4.
Back up your files and just be careful, be cautious. That's a lot of this. So have you all heard of phishing before?
Yep.
Fishing? Yes.
Yeah.
I
Yeah?
go in the summer.
You what? Ha ha ha. My husband loves fishing. Yes. No? So that's phishing when somebody pretends to be somebody else. Spoofing is when somebody tries to look like they're somebody else. So it's kind of like wearing a mask. So did anybody in here ever get a phone call on their cell phone from their own phone number?
Yeah.
Is that not the weirdest thing ever?
See, you're the liar.
So, no, seriously, it happens. So there are machines that bad people use to make fake phone numbers. So they can make it look like they're calling from here in Augusta if they're in California. Or sometimes they'll use people's own phone number. They know the number they're calling and they'll make it look like it's coming from the same number because they know that you know your number and you'll say, oh, I know that number, and you'll answer, and then you realize I wouldn't call myself, so that's weird.
Telemarketers?
Yeah, telemarketers, basically. So it's like pretend phone numbers.
Oh, I thought they were Russian hackers.
Well, it could be.
Um,
Yes.
so when I'm trying so would prank calling be in that?
I don't know that that's.
Like star 67. Like if you put that in before the number.
It pops up unknown.
You might figure out who it is. Yeah, it would probably
It's
prop
pretty
up
fun.
unknown
Yeah.
because they block their number.
Did to McDonald's.
So anyway, spear phishing is both phishing and spoofing. It's where they pretend to be somebody else and they also have information about you that's very specific. So that would be like if you got an email that actually had your own name in it and some more information about you, maybe anybody in here have a brother or sister?
I got
Maybe it mentions your brother or sister. Maybe it has some more information that makes you think, man, this must be real. These people really know me. And here it's just that they've looked this up online and they're trying to get you to fall for it. And so here's an example of an email that somebody might fall for. Like if I'm at work and I get this email from Bob Smith, and I know Bob Smith, I talk to him all the time, and he could send me an email, sure. And I would say, oh, well, this email's encrypted. That's kind of unusual, but okay, I'll figure out what Bob Smith wants. So I click on this, and if that's a bad link, then my computer's suddenly infected. And so the way you can tell is if you put your mouse right there without clicking, it's going to give you this little box, and it's going to tell you where that link actually goes. So this link does not go to secure email. It goes to badthingshappen.com. Now, it's not going to be a real obvious.
bad things.
Wait.
It's not going to go there. It's not going to go someplace obvious. It's going to be like JJUPT something, something, crazy. But it's obviously not what it says it's going to be. And if they don't match, you never want to click it. You could do the same thing with the sender. So this B. Smith is actually this other person. So they're pretending to be somebody else. They're trying to make me fall for it to get me to click on it. Does that make sense? Do you have a question?
A couple of weeks ago or something like that, this dude hacked the thing on here
Uh-huh.
and then they were going to delete Snapchat.
The whole program?
Yeah.
That's funny. There was
I hope 3 years ago.
There was a school in this state where a student, stole another student's identity on Facebook and threatened the school. And for a minute, the school thought it was
That was at Mason County.
That was
the
at
original.
Mason County.
How do you all know that? They didn't even know that.
Because there's a bomb threat there and somebody stole it. And
It was
My
Cindy
cousin's
Thomas.
dude, I'm dead serious.
Actually, it's been on Facebook too.
Yeah,
From
it just
the
happened
Batesville
yesterday.
Police Department.
Just happened yesterday. Yeah,
They do it every month, every year.
from a
It's happened
stolen
for like-
account. Yeah.
It was our
Past 10
So-
years they did it, and they called out school for it. The bomb.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't go.
I didn't go.
I stayed home
We'll have to edit that out. That's
We
so
went
funny
there.
that they knew and the other school didn't.
And then you said it, I was like, I never know.
All right, so passwords. Passwords are the best way you can protect yourself online. Really good, strong passwords. And the real key is to use a different password for your different accounts. Those of you who have a savings account, can you look at it online?
Yeah.
Do you have online access?
Yeah.
All right, do you use the same password for that as you do for Twitter?
No.
Good.
I have different passwords.
Excellent. You should have different passwords. That's perfect. So it is hard to remember them all, and that's okay if it's hard to remember them all. It's okay to write them down. Just hide them somewhere secret that's not obvious. Like, don't tape them to your monitor. Don't write them on the back of your phone case.
I forgot my password today.
Yeah? Did you reset it?
Well, I had to reset it the day before. On Friday, and then I forgot my new password today. That's his profit. I got logged out.
Yeah, he forgets his password and he makes them up.
Well, that he makes up good ones then. Well, that's good. It's
That
good
is
passwords.
But it was my name.
So your name is not a good password. Actually, we'll get into that in a minute. So you want your password to be unique, and you want it to be secret, and you want to change it every now and then. And this last one, this two-factor authentication, those of you who use a bank account online, do they make you go through a lot of steps to get to it?
Yeah.
They should.
I mean, sometimes
You
we
want all that
put
turned
my
on?
CVC code,
Where'd you get that? Where did that code come from?
my credit card.
On the back of the card. That's when you're buying stuff, not when you're banking.
Well, they make me put in like my
She
information.
buys stuff offline and then sells it.
I don't need to know that. All right, so when you, okay, who has a savings account? Raise your hand again. Did you look at online? Okay, so you've talked a lot. I'm gonna come over here. So when you use your account online, what do you have to do besides put in your password? Do you have to answer a question? Yeah? So is there some kind of question that you have to answer that only you would know the answer to?
Yeah, it's like, what's your first girl's name?
Yeah. So those are great. That's good. Exactly. So that's good. If it's an extra step, that's good because it would be harder for somebody to guess that about you. So that's called two-factor authentication, and there's 3 ways they can do that. It could be something you know, like a security question. It could be something you have. Who in here has a Gmail account? And I only say Gmail because I know they do this. Have you ever used a strange computer to look at your Gmail and they sent you a text with a code and you had to put the code in? So that is the second authentication. That's something you have because the bad person who's hacking into your account probably doesn't have your cell phone too. So since they know that's an odd computer, they're making sure that it's really you by sending the code to something you have. So there's something you know, something you have, or something you are. Anybody use a thumbprint or a fingerprint to get into their phone? Yeah? It's called that's called biometrics. Same thing with like the laser scan of your eye, like you see in spy movies. They'll do a retinal scan.
They got
That's coming. That's coming to like laptops now.
Alphabets.
Yep, Face ID.
The bad thing about it is whenever you're sleeping, and if you got a girlfriend, you gotta take your phone and do this.
I've had a coworker who said her kid does that. She turns the phone on while she's sleeping and watches it anyway. So anyway, two-factor authentication is good. Even though it's a pain because it's more hoops to jump through, it's more protection if somebody ever tries to get in. All right, so bad passwords are things like common words or phrases like your name or your birthday, or things that repeat, like if your password in January is January and your password in February is February, that's a little too obvious. So they shouldn't name a specific person, place, or thing. And a PIN number should not be something related to you either. And who on their smartphone has a password that's like a 4 or 5 number thing? Okay. So the only thing I'll say about that is there's only so many numbers on a keypad, right? There's only 4 rows because the zero's in a row. So you can kind of tell which direction people's fingers are going in if you're watching them, right?
Yep.
So that's not as safe of a password as a letter password where there's 26 different choices. Or the thumbprint, because you're the only one with the thumbprint, or the face, unless you're sleeping. You got a question?
I changed, like, on my iPad, I changed my password to incorrect. So every time I get it wrong, it says your password is incorrect.
It's like The Simpsons. Where's the any key? There's not one that says any. So here are the worst passwords of the past year or two. There's a company that does a study every year, and they put out the year's worst passwords. So if your password's on this list, you need to change it today.
Wordy.
QWERTY, that's the top 5 letters across the keyboard.
The worst. Mine's not any of them.
Well, that's good.
But there's a new one where it goes straight down the list, and that's everybody's bad.
All right, so good passwords are nice and long. At least 8 characters. They say 8 to 12 is recommended, but it could be more or less. Yeah.
First thing,
So when you said your password in January, if it's January and your password is February, so are you saying we need to change our passwords?
Oh, so yeah, the more often you change it, probably the better, just because if somebody's trying to guess, it'll be different all the time. You don't have to change them every month though, but I know at work, they make us change our passwords like crazy often. So it's very tempting to just put a 1 or a 2 or a 3 and keep using the same word, but you're not supposed to do that because once somebody has guessed that, that's the next thing they're going to try, is to make it a sequence.
Miss Cross, can you see my password? Can I go see my password?
Maybe later. All right, so passwords should be nice and long. It should have uppercase and lowercase letters, and they don't have to be at the beginning. They could be somewhere in the middle. It should have a number in it, and it should have like punctuation or something in it that's not a letter. And it should be unpredictable. So that list of things is in your little workbook. All the things in the PowerPoint are in the text parts of this workbook. But that list of good password things is right here. That's what you need to know to make a good password. This screen is interesting because this is just showing you, like, say this is your cell phone. And these are the programs or the apps or the things that you have on it. What happens if somebody steals your cell phone? Do you have passwords set up for all of these, or does it automatically log in? And so like Twitter, when you are on your phone, do you have to put a password into Twitter, or does it just go?
It just goes in there.
yeah,
See? So if somebody has your phone and they manage to get in the main password, suddenly they have access to everything. So that's just something to think about. Should you leave those passwords, or should you let it remember them? Just think, it's a lot more convenient to let it remember them, but it's a lot safer to type them in each time.
Yeah, Blake stole my phone. Ma'am, how can you so say you guess my password, like 6731, that's not my password. But
Then what?
It's
But-
1, 2, 3, 3.
and then you get on Twitter, how do you make that, put a password in before you get on Twitter?
It's a setting. You probably did it the first time you went on. It probably said, do you want me to remember this? And you probably said, yeah, because it's annoying. And it is annoying to put it in every time, but if you would happen to lose it, it's safer. So it's a choice you make. You got to decide whether you're willing to do that every time or not. But that's safer. If anybody does anybody shop online?
Help me.
Yep.
Anybody, oh, wow. A lot of online shoppers in here. All right. So well, you're selling stuff online. That's what somebody said. So when you're shopping online or you're banking online, you want to make sure that the website is encrypted. And what does encrypted mean? Does anybody know?
HTTPS.
No,
Yes.
it's like you unscramble the word.
Yes,
letters per power.
encryption scrambles what you're sending. So when you're sending your credit card information to pay for that thing you bought on Amazon, it's scrambling your credit card information so that anybody who's surfing by isn't able to unscramble it and get a hold of it. So encryption is good, and if it's encrypted, it will have the S. HTTPS stands for secure, and sometimes it'll have either a little key or a little lock, like a padlock.
Yep.
And that shows that it's encrypted also. And so if you're checking out like your shopping cart, you want to make sure that the S is all the way through, because there's like the page where you put the stuff in, and then there's the page where you put your address, and the page where you put your credit card, and then the page where you confirm everything. And every step along the way should have that S showing. So this one, review transactions regularly. That means if you get a statement in the mail, if you have a credit card or if you have a bank account, look at that piece of paper they're sending you, whether it's online, like in your email, or whether it's in the mail, and make sure that that's all stuff that you really did, because that's identity theft. If you see things on there that aren't yours, you need to report those right away so that you don't get charged for them.
My mom will call me.
Should call and argue with them?
Yeah.
That's me. I'm the bad cop in my house. I got to call and argue with them. Okay, so do we want to talk about skimmers?
Yeah, because does anybody, who was in class last year when I came in one day and I said I got hacked?
Did you really?
Yeah. Do you remember what happened? Where did I tell you it happened at? Kroger gas station.
Oh, yeah.
Uh-huh. And it could be
Yeah.
any gas station. So I've gotten to hear speakers from the FBI that are investigators that check into this kind of stuff, and they showed me what a skimmer looks like, and it's not much bigger than a piece of like Juicy Fruit or Wrigley's gum. They're flat and skinny, and they have like the prongs on either end. And so if it's the kind that they hook to the inside of the device, so like say it's at a gas pump, like the one you're talking about, the person who did this probably had a key, so they couldn't tell it was pried open. They probably had a key to get in, which they shouldn't have had, but had anyway. So bad people get a hold of things they shouldn't have, right? So they have a key, they open it up, put the thing on, snap the two ends, close it back up, done in a minute, and they can record data for days. And the better ones actually have Bluetooth on them, so they don't even have to come back and get it. It just puts the information out in the air, and they have the device that collects it, and suddenly they have all kinds of credit cards. Everybody who sticks their card in when they're getting gas, it's recording that number and sending it to the bad people. So that's what happened. They got your credit card information, and I guess you saw your statement, and there was a bunch of stuff you didn't buy.
I'm with the credit union, the Commonwealth Credit Union, and I get phone calls whenever there's charges.
Strange
that are
transactions.
odd,
Yeah.
and it was in Mexico.
Oh, somebody in Mexico charging up
Well,
your
they
stuff.
were taking a Uber.
Oh,
Yeah. Of course it was someone.
taking an Uber in Mexico. That's what she does on the weekends. No, I'm just kidding. So yeah, if you ever get a phone call from your credit card company and they're like, have you been going to the movies in Louisville? And you say, no, I haven't. And they'll say, well, then we'll take those charges off and we'll cancel your card and we'll send you a new one because somebody has hacked into your account. And so a lot of times when your credit card is stolen, it could be from a skimmer, which could happen at a gas station, an ATM, or like a U-scan in a store. If they're not watched really close, somebody might hook one onto those. So hopefully that's not happening. And there are people who, like, we check the ATMs. The Department of Agriculture actually checks the gas pumps.
Check ATM.
Well, we regulate the banks.
What does ATM
So
stand for?
the bank, well, the bank will check its own ATM. I should say that. The bank will check its own ATM, but we,
Like in the big old box trucks.
a Brinks truck,
Yeah, that were like the big.
a money truck.
Yeah.
Those trucks have money in them. They really do.
What does an
Brinks
ATM
truck?
stand for? What does ATM stand
Automated teller machine.
for?
Boy, I haven't had to bust that one out in a while.
What does MIA stand for?
Huh?
What does MIA stand for?
MIA, missing in action?
Oh,
We're government. We like acronyms. I'm from the DFI. She's from the PPC.
Did you say you're from the FBI?
DFI. But I know people in the FBI.
Are they SWAT team?
So anyway, when you're at the gas station, it's good to, if you're going to use the card reader, and tell your parents this, to make sure nothing looks loose or tampered with. If anything looks wrong, they should report it to the gas station, and the gas station will tell the cops, and they'll come and make sure there's nothing inside it. There should be no scratches, tape, or glue. It shouldn't, like, when you stick your card in, it shouldn't be like scratching on something. And so to be really safe, you should pay cash, but who does that, right? Does anybody in here carry cash?
Yep.
I'm not very good about carrying cash.
I don't have a credit
So
card.
I know all this and I still use the pump.
I started using the credit card in the little booth instead for
Yeah.
a year.
It's safer. It is. It's safer.
Look.
Um,
Look here.
So you can do that. That's a little bit safer. Your credit card is offering better protections than your debit card, but that doesn't mean not everybody should have a credit card. I'm not advocating that everybody have a credit card, but if you are responsible with a credit card, it's better to use a credit card than a debit card because a debit card comes immediately from your checking account, where a credit card has that window of time where you've got more time to report it if something is not yours. Yes.
Don't credit cards like get you?
Credit score.
It does get you a credit score.
Don't it get you out of money?
It is a loan. A credit card is a loan.
It's a loan.
A credit card is a
Oh my
loan.
goodness.
Yep.
That's why I got debit cards because it's a beast.
Debit card is not a loan. A debit card is like writing a check, except nobody writes checks anymore.
My papa
So
does.
it comes immediately out of your checking
You don't
account.
pay cash, nothing.
A lot of people, okay, so a lot of people have checks. They just don't use them much. I need to order checks. I don't have checks right now. It's like crazy. I tried to pay a bill the other day. I'm like, what?
I want to check.
Cell phones. Who in here had a cell phone? Smartphone?
Smartphone.
Your phone's dumb. My phone's dumb too. I have a flip phone. I have a smartphone too. So a smartphone is a computer too. Treat it like one. Make sure it has a password. Make sure you do the updates. On your Wi-Fi, if you don't need it, turn off your Wi-Fi. Turn off your Bluetooth when you're not using it. Not only is it safer, but it helps preserve your battery. So if you don't need it at the moment, turn it off. The accessing the internet.
Wait.
On your Wi-Fi, you don't want it to just automatically access every single network you come in contact with. There is a setting that lets it do that. It's better if you choose it yourself. So like if you stay unconnected till you're somewhere where you trust the network and then you choose that network, that's much safer than if it automatically just connects to everything between here and everywhere. Let's see, what else? And apps. With the apps, I'm very careful not to recommend apps, for one, because they change all the time, and for two, because it's hard to know what's going on in the background of the computer programming. So a couple of years ago, one of the most dangerous apps to have was the flashlight app, because for some reason there were these flashlight apps out there that you would download and they'd be these huge files. Like it's just a little thing that turns on your light. It shouldn't be this huge file. And what they found was it was actually running spyware in the background of this little app that you didn't know was going on. So it was somebody collecting your information every time you turned on the flashlight. Now, most phones come with a flashlight now, and I don't think that's a problem that it used to be because you're not downloading it extra. But now it'll be something else. It'll be some game or some other thing. Yeah.
Wasn't Talking Tom a real good spyware game?
No, it was Angela. It was the Angela.
Angela?
Angela the cat.
Oh, okay.
They said everything.
Every time white people look at
I hope it's not Talking Toms. I've actually had that one before.
No, it was Angela. It was the girl one. It was supposed
Yeah, like
It's fine. We're done. So you don't need to worry about those. I could take some other questions for a couple of minutes. I think we're about done.
I got a question.
Yeah. Money
So-
questions, I should say.
money questions.
Money or cybercrime questions.
All right, put your hand down. It's fine. Say if you just got an update and you updated your phone, and then you got another update, but nobody else got it. Will that be somebody trying to hack your phone?
Oh, like a fake update.
iPhone.
Okay, probably not, but I can't answer that for sure without seeing it. The one scam that's going around that a lot of people are falling for is where somebody pretends to be from Microsoft and it pops up on your screen and says, "Oh, you've got a virus, let me help you take it off."
Hey Cortana.
Do you think Microsoft's that helpful?
Yep. I mean,
Yes.
Yeah, Bill Gates.
Bill
Bill
Gates.
Gates.
I mean, Bill Gates.
He's a beast. So, yes.
87.7 billion.
While Bill Gates is a beast, he's probably not going to offer to help you in your living room. Usually you have to call them, right? So just if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. And if they're offering to help you and they're asking for information at the same time, that's a real red flag, because if it's like your bank or someplace like that, they already know. They don't need your information because they already have it. Yeah.
Okay, this is wait. Put your hand there.
You have a lot of questions.
No, this is a good one though. So say, look. So you know how Xbox? Do you have an Xbox One?
I know what an Xbox One is, yes.
So okay. So when you're talking to the Xbox, it used to be, hey Xbox. Now it's, Hey
Hey,
Cortana.
Cortana.
So it's not a joke. I'm dead serious.
I know.
I thought it was cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so when people say, okay, so when if you got on your Xbox in the morning and it was like instead of Hey Cortana, it was like Hey Bill. Would that be like a virus? Because you know how Microsoft is made by Bill Gates.
No, probably not. Okay, does anybody have any real questions? Do you have a real question?
Yes.
Okay.
Prophet. Great question.
Did you forget? Do you have a question? Or are you stretching?
It's still with debit cards.
What about debit cards?
Are debit cards better than credit cards?
Are they better than credit
That's
cards?
an opinion, so there cannot be proven.
Yes,
Oh.
it could be. It could be.
My personal opinion, they are different. So I can't say which one's better. They're different. Credit cards can get people into a lot of trouble because they are loans and you have to pay them back and they can be quite expensive. But if you are able to control yourself and put something on a card and pay it off immediately, and there's a grace period, then it doesn't cost you anything. So then it's okay.
My dad has like 50 cards. Like, his
Probably
wallet
their store cards, probably.
Yeah, he owns his own company, HVAC Solutions.
breaking.
What's the number?
So we have paid advertising now. Does he pay you for this advertising?
Yeah.
You got a lot of side jobs. Okay, any real questions about money? It's all right. They're adding to the.
I mean, nobody else is
Interest
asking questions.
of the group.
They're probably getting bored out of their mind.
Well, I don't have any
Do you
cards to
have a real question?
So what if it does not have an S as in like HTTP? What if
Then
it's
it is not encrypted. It's not
It's a
secure.
bad size one.
It doesn't mean it's bad. It depends. If you're putting in information that's personal, then it would be a bad site. If you are just reading, like Wikipedia is not secure because why would it be? It's just information.
And you can just go on there and change it whenever you want.
So, what do you really do at your job? Like,
What do I do? Okay, that's interesting. I actually have a journalism degree. I do.
like stories?
I write stuff. I write stories. I write press releases. I write newsletter articles. I do the website. I put the content on. I did work there, actually.
Do you know
I'm
Evan
not lying.
Dennison?
Do what?
Evan
Evan
Dennison.
Dennison.
I do not. I'm sorry. I know Marianne Kearns, and I know Betty Cousant, and I know Lisa Dunbar, who's not at the paper anymore, but she's a public official now. So yeah, I actually did work at the Ledger Independent. I was a newspaper reporter there, and I covered the schools. But I don't know if I ever came here, actually, which is odd. I should have.
Evan Dennison's here.
Yes. Huh? Do I write receipts? No. No, I don't. I don't, because I don't sell anything.
When you go to the store, there's a
Yeah.
white receipt for you.
No, be nice. Okay, so I'm okay with that question because it's interesting that just because you get a degree in one thing doesn't mean you won't end up doing something completely different later. So I don't mind sharing that because what I want to tell you all about that is to pay attention even if it's a class you don't like that much because it might be something you use a whole lot someday.